Dear students, today I'll give you some introduction about a basic electronics and electronics 1 and unit 1. And I'm Nagendra S, Department of Electronics, Kristu Jayanti College, Bangalore. And this is about the content part of the electronics 1. And this electronics 1 has 5 units, and unit 1 is introduction to electronic components, and unit 2 is semiconductors, and 3, 4, 5 are about the transistors. So the learning outcome of this electronics 1 is, after you are completing this electronics 1, so you are acquiring a basic knowledge in solid state electronics, means how the application of electronics and how to identify the components, how to design electronic circuits, and it's about everything about the component and its construction, its characteristics and waveforms, and also about its application. And at the end of this all the unit, at the end of the electronics 1, you are able to design and analyze and design some simple analog electronics using these discrete components, and also about the importance of the amplifier circuit. Coming to this unit 1, that is introduction to electronics components. So this is the fundamental concept you are going to study here, and it's about the components. And maybe, as all of you are aware that the resistors, inductors, capacitors, transistor, diode, maybe you might have heard about all this. And in this unit, you are going to study about all these components, its function, its characteristics, and also about the AC signals and the analysis of the AC signals, and more importantly, the functioning of the capacitor, how the capacitor works, and the analysis of the circuit. So please remember, the circuit analysis is means the knowing about the voltage and the current analysis. So how to find out the voltage analysis or how to calculate the current analysis is about there are some network theorems are also you are going to study. Okay, so let us begin with a brief introduction of this unit 1 I'm giving now. Coming to this one, probably you might have seen all these in your life or in day-to-day activities, or when you are moving on a street, or when you are watching a program. Is everything is about electronics. When we say about computer is also an electronic machine. For example, television is also an electronic machine, or some of the lights, which they have lighted up in a big buildings, and everything is about electronics. So probably you might have an idea about this printed circuit board or the master circuit board or whatever. It's all using for providing the connection with the circuit and all this. This is just about when we say an electronic device. It is nothing but it is a connection of 2 or more components with the connections. Okay. So coming to these electronic components, mainly, we have broadly classified into 2 components. One is called passive component, another is an active component. As the name suggests itself, that passive components are those components, which does not gives out any energy, which consumes energy, but which does not. Passive components are, in the another way, we can say that whose function is same in all the electronic circuits. Whereas the active components are quite different from passive. Active means, it generates a voltage, it generates an energy, and it is used in the electronic circuits for a different purposes. So all this you are going to study in the entire electronics one. But here I am just giving you the brief, the comparison between a passive and active components, and some of the examples I have shown here. And you can see that, there are the symbols what we are using here and the component part of the active. For example, passive components, example of passive components are resistor, capacitor, inductor, transformer. And coming to these active components, nowadays we use widely we used active components are transistor, diode, LED, photodiode. Maybe you might have heard about all this, like integrated circuit, operational amplifier, then display devices, battery. These are all we considered as an active components. Then, okay, so this is just an example of, one circuit which I'm showing, here we have shown active element as a battery and passive element as a bulb, when you connect, these are all the electrical connections we made. And when we made these electrical connections, that is what we are going to do. Okay, then, and again in this unit, you are going to study about the comparison of the active components and passive components, which here we have shown in this one. Okay, then coming to the passive components, one thing, here in this unit, the three most important passive components which you are going to study is about a resistor, capacitor, and inductor. Probably you have heard about this. The unit of resistance is ohm, the unit of capacitance is farad, and unit of inductance is Henry. So each one has its own unit and this unit is about to just, it's a brief introduction we are giving how to measure these resistance, capacitance, and inductance part. Okay, coming to this resistor, the meaning of this resistor is to resist the flow of current. Probably you might have heard about this resistor, or probably you have seen the resistors. There's a symbol. It as we have shown here, and it is the resistance is always inversely proportional to the current which flows in the circuit. In a sense, in the circuit, more higher the resistance, less the current flows in the circuit. In the sense, if the value of the resistance is high, then the current which flows through the resistor is drops. And in a way, it is related. There is a relation between a voltage and the current, and that relation also which gives us the power. The power is nothing but the combination of voltage and current. Okay, this is just for your information. I'm giving you now here how to find the value of the resistors. Always, the value of the resistors which we can find out using the color code. We use so many color code, and all of you know how to identify the color code and to remember these values of these color code. This is a big table I'm showing you here. The values of the color, each color can be identified by, there is a formula called B.B. Roy of Great Britain had a very good wife. Please remember the first letter of each word. B.B. Roy, B.B.R.O.Y. Roy of Great, G, Green, Britain, B, had a very good wife, B.G.W. When you come here, you can see in the table, it is about black, brown, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, gray, white. And to identify the values, normally all the resistors has three band, first second band, and third band. And the tolerance band is also we are having, so the tolerance band, and it is always calculated as gold, silver, and sometimes the no band. Anyway, in this unit, we are going to study about, please remember the values. Black has 0, brown has 1, red is 2, orange is 3, yellow is 4, green 5, blue 6, violet 7, gray 8, and white 9. Then, it is normally in this, the amount of opposition to the flow of current is called the resistance, and normally it is denoted by R, and the unit of resistance is ohm. It is normally considered, and the resistors are available in different values. Kilo ohms, mega ohms. It is normally identified if the value of the resistor is above 1000, then it is identified as K, capital K, kilo ohm. If the value of the resistance is too large, then it is identified as mega ohm. Okay, then coming to the inductor, another type of passive components which you are going to study is about the inductors. So please remember, inductors, when it comes, it is nothing but it is like a form of a coil. It's a coil, and this coil, it is actually, it can store or deliver energy, but it cannot generate it. And another definition is that it allows DC and blocks AC. In the sense, if there is any variation in the voltage, it blocks. If there is a constant flow of the voltage or potential difference, when it is there, then it stores that energy. Normally, it is identified as it is identified as a symbol L, and the unit is Henry. And here also the same method we are using to know the value of the inductance. Here also the same formula we follow like B.B. Roy of Great Britain. But since the inductor value is available in a very small value like millihenry and microhenry, so in a way, it is available with a small values of the inductors are available in the market. And please remember, the most important is, like resistance, inductance is always a positive value. This is also a positive value. Okay. Then it has a symbol L, and it is measured Henry, and it is used for the storage of energy. Please remember, in the form of electromagnetic field. There is a electromagnetic field which is developed, that coil has in terms of how the current flows through it, and it is a property, we can, by definition we can say, it is a property of an inductor which opposes any changes in the current. Please remember, so if there is any change in the current, then it blocks. It is not allowing. Okay, then coming to the capacitor. The capacitor is another type of passive components which we use to widely for a different function. But basically, capacitor is considered as any two plates separated by an insulator is called as a capacitor. And in a very simple definition, we can say capacitor is an passive component which is used for charging and discharging. This is a very, very important point. It is used to store a charge, and then it discharges whenever. So that charging and discharging function is done by the capacitor. And capacitor is it is opposite of an inductor, where the capacitor is the one which allows AC and blocks DC. In a sense, if there is any variation comes, it allows this. But if there is no change, then it blocks. So this is, in a way, we can say it is used for storing the charge Then again, the capacitance, and it is identified by the symbol C. And C, we can say what is the definition of capacitance. You can say like it is a property of a capacitor, because the capacitance means it is the property. It is a property of a capacitor which opposes any changes in the voltage across it. That is as defined by the constant of proportionality as the current flowing through. So this is about then these are some of the we are going to learn about what is each component has its own resistance. In a way, for a resistance we say, for a resistor we say resistance. For an inductor which has its resistance, we call it as inductive reactance. Please remember that for if the resistance of the capacitor, we call it as capacitive reactance. Okay. Then after studying about the passive components, now we are going to analyze or about to know about the signals. What are the signals are available in the electronic circuits? Basically, we have two signals. One is called AC signal, another is called DC signal. Okay, so this video will just give you a brief introduction about the passive component, and just to know about the about the what is the signal present in this one. So thank you.